At the Collins Law Firm, we've been doing environmental contamination cases for 20 years. Every one of them involves a dangerous chemical getting outside a factory when it wasn't supposed to. Sometimes it's dumped or poured or spilled into the soil outside the back door. Sometimes it's buried in a pit on the plant property. Sometimes it's vented to the outdoor air. And the point about every one of these dangerous chemicals is once it gets outside the plant, it goes where nature takes it. And so if it goes out into the air, whichever way the wind blows it, and in whatever velocity, that's where the chemical goes. And if it goes to people, then people are breathing it. And it can be very dangerous. When it gets dumped into the ground, it can bleed down into the water supply, into the groundwater, and the groundwater flows in a certain direction. And if it flows to where people are, and people are drinking it or bathing with it, or chemicals are volatilizing off of that groundwater and intruding as vapor into the home, and now people are breathing it, it's a problem. In every one of these cases, one of the most important witnesses that we have always is the person in the plant worker who years ago dumped or poured or spilled the chemical or vented it to the outdoor air, not because he or she thought it was a good idea, but because they were told to by their supervisors. And then years later, the case is in court, and we have to recreate the story for the judge and the jury. And this person takes the witness stand and they testify. And they testify to what they were told to do. And usually at that point, the case starts to turn very heavily in our direction because what they were told to do was wrong. The first case that we ever worked on involved a storage tank that, believe it or not, was designed to spill chemicals. That's the only way the worker knew that the tank was full, because the chemicals started to spill over the sides. Unbelievably, but true. That story was critical to our winning the case. We've also dealt with many cases where workers in the plant were told to pour chemicals down the drain, as if when you poured the chemicals down the drain, they would just disappear and no one would ever hear from them again. Not thinking, apparently, or the supervisors who instructed this behavior weren't thinking that these drains go someplace. And sometimes they can lead inevitably to a water supply or to groundwater and contaminated it and make it very dangerous for people. Sometimes there would be dangerous, contaminated air trapped inside a plant, and so supervisors told the workers to just basically open the windows and doors and vent the dangerous chemical to the outside air. So the point was initially to protect the people inside the plant, a good idea, from the dangerous chemical, but without a thought, or without enough of a thought, for the people outside the plant who would be coming into contact with the chemicals that were vented to the outdoor air. So in each one of these cases, dangerous chemicals are getting out of the plant because someone is instructed to do something that is wrong and that is dangerous. In every one of these cases, the workers who were instructed to do that, we don't regard as the bad actors in this story. They were trying to keep their jobs. They were doing what they were told to do. So, if anybody watching this video was ever involved in something like that, if you were ever told to dispose of chemicals in a way that you now believe wasn't right, you should let us know. You should contact us at collinslaw.com, because it may be that someone is suffering because of the chemicals that you were instructed, maybe against your will, to release in a way that wasn't right. That individual and that individual's honest testimony is critical to every one of these cases, and it's critical to justice being done for the people who are hurt by exposure to those dangerous chemicals who got out of the plant in that way.